Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA season has officially begun, and it is off to a hot start. So let's talk more about that right after the intro. Thank you for tuning in to podcast number 74 of Sports Talk with JWock. And before we get into talking about the NBA, I first want to just apologize for not uploading as recently. It's been, I believe, 2 weeks since I've had my last episode. The reason being, I'm in an internship right now. I'm currently doing broadcasting for high school sports, and I also had a concussion last week, and I'm still kind of recovering from that, so I'm going to try to make this episode quick, but that's why I've been gone. But we're going to be back, regular schedule, at least one episode a week. We should be putting out NFL picks again, so stay tuned for that. Check out me on all social media platforms. But let's get right into this red-hot NBA season, where we're first going to talk about how there has been a gambling scandal in the NBA between players like Chauncey, or not players, but former players like Chauncey Billups. We've heard Kevin Garnett could be included in this, and then a current player in Terry Rozier. I'm not going to get into really any details with that. If you want to hear more about that, you can check it out. It's probably all over the internet right now. All you have to do is just look it up. But as Shams Charania stated, this case can take up to 6 to 12 months. So this is not going to be some like short-term thing. It's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out and how Adam Silver also handles this scandal. But let's get on to the next topic, where we are finally back to NBA on NBC. This is just, it's been off to a hot start. Like, it is taking over. And as much as I loved NBA on TNT, I'm so happy that we got NBA on NBC back, because, and I think it's significantly better. I think the only reason why NBA on TNT was ever good was because you had the crew of like Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and Charles Barkley. Other than that, it felt like the games were kind of eh. It feels like the presentation on NBA on NBC has been really good. If you guys haven't watched any games that have been presented on that channel, check it out. I'm serious. It is actually very impressive to see what they've done so far this year, and it's been incredible. And obviously the legendary Mike Tirico, I mean, his commentating, you can't go wrong with that. But yeah, let's talk about something that honestly I think a lot of people aren't going to really like me talking about, because I'm probably the only Bulls fan that ever watches. But the Bulls are 4-0 as I'm saying this on Thursday, October 30th. The Bulls are 4-0, and they're not just 4-0. They've beaten 3 really good teams and then one team that still doesn't really have an identity. They beat the Detroit Pistons, they beat the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings are basically the Bulls a couple years back. There's a reason why it's not working out there, because it didn't work out in Chicago a couple years back. And then they've beaten those other 3 teams I mentioned. Those are 3 like tier 2 Eastern Conference teams. And when I like put tiers, I put like tier 1 is like you're going to be competing for championships. That's like the Knicks, the Cavaliers, the Bucks, teams like them. Tier 2 is like the 76ers, the Pistons, the Hawks, the Magic. You could even maybe put the Heat if you want to put it in there. It's been impressive to see the Bulls win. And what's really impressed me the most is the people leading this team. And one of the players that is actually leading this team is Josh Giddey. He is averaging currently 19.5 points per game, as he's getting 8.5 rebounds and 7.8 assists with 1 stocks, which if you guys don't know what stocks is, it's just steals and blocks combined. I don't want to separate the two because I feel like it's just kind of a waste of time. But also our second-year player, Modest Buzelis, averaging 16.8 points per game. He's got 4.8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 1.8 stocks. So those 2 players are currently leading this Bulls team. And keep in mind, Kobe White, the player that we all expect to be the leading scorer for this Bulls team, has yet to play a game. He's still going to be out for a couple more games. And then Zach Collins, our backup center, is also not playing, and he is also plays a key part into this Bulls team. So it's been very fun to watch. They've been playing very good defensively. Unfortunately, they have to go against the New York Knicks tomorrow, which when you're watching this, that game will have already happened. and then the next week they play against New York again, Philly, Milwaukee, and I can't remember the other team, but still, like, that's going to be a very tough week, and we probably will not be undefeated even by the end of tomorrow, but who knows? Maybe. You never know. But it's exciting to see my favorite team winning for now. Cut me some slack. I know they're going to be bad this year most likely, but it's just good to see them winning games and playing good defense, which is what they did not do last year. So that's been very interesting. Another big thing that's been going on in the NBA, and I apologize if I'm kind of all over the place. This is kind of just like a quick episode trying to get things just so you guys can actually actually watch an episode for the first time in 2 weeks. There have been some seriously good performances from players. I mean, Luka Doncic before the injury was balling out. Austin Reeves is now balling out. We're seeing Victor Wembanyama absolutely destroying the NBA, it feels like. I mean, this man, if he keeps playing like this, he could be the front runner for MVP. He's averaging 31 points per game. He's also, along with 2.8 assists per game, he's shooting 36.4% from the three-point line, 60% from the field, and his stocks I'm not even going to say the stocks because I can't count 6.3 stocks if I'm not mistaken. That's 4.8 blocks per game and 1.5 steals per game. If I got the math wrong there, you can make fun of me all you want. I'm sorry. But like 4.8 blocks per game, like if this man stays healthy, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He probably should have won it the last 2 years. Unfortunately, he didn't meet that 60-something game criteria. I can't remember. I think it's like 62 games. He didn't meet that criteria, unfortunately, and he would have won Defensive Player of the Year. Wemby could be the next MVP, the next youngest MVP, breaking Derrick Rose's record, which happened in 2011. So that's definitely something to look out for. But another player that I want to look up his stats because he has been balling out as well and could be a sneaky front runner that not a lot of people are talking about for MVP, and that's Giannis Antetokounmpo. He has been balling out. He's averaging 36.3 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game, while also averaging 69.5% from the field. He has been balling out along with 1.3 blocks and 0.8 steals per game. Giannis has led this Bucks team to a 3-1 record. I believe they play the Warriors tonight, who are also balling out at 4-1. I'm really excited to see what Giannis can do with this young Bucks team. Ryan Rollins has really stepped up for the Bucks. Cole Anthony has turned out to be a great sixth man for this team. I'm curious to see how this Bucks team is going to play. I always said Miles Turner and Giannis are going to be a great duo. It seems that that's starting to really work out, and I think throughout the season it's going to continue to get better. So don't sleep on the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm telling you, he should be, him and Wemby right now, in my opinion, should be the front runners for MVP. But we're going to go into the next topic after this break, and we're going to be talking about how this rookie draft class has come off to a hot start. And before we get on to the final topic, where we're going to be talking about this incredible rookie class so far, have you liked and subscribed the video? If not, feel free to do so. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. But if you do want to, it's completely free, and you could always unsubscribe at any point in time. You could also click the bell icon, and if you do so, you will be notified when I upload next. So if you want to, feel free to do that. I would greatly appreciate it. And share the podcast with other people. It just helps get the word out, and it helps me to be more motivated to make more content for you guys. But anyways, this draft class has been so fun to watch, and to put it even into even further context, next year's draft class, the 2026 draft class, might be even better. So stay tuned for that for future episodes. I apologize. But let's talk about the 2025 draft class right now, where I think the leader right now is VJ Edgecombe, the rookie, the number 3 pick selected by the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers, it's looking like, made the correct draft selection. There was a lot of talk and a lot of criticism that they did not draft Ace Bailey. I'm really happy they drafted Edgecombe, and I'm happy Edgecombe is performing really well because he was one of my favorite rookies going into this upcoming class. And right now he's averaging 22 0.3 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 5.5 assists. He's shooting 47.1% from the field. He's also shooting 42.9% from the three, and he has 2 stocks per game. He has been balling out. VJ Edgecombe, in my opinion, is the front runner for Rookie of the Year if the season ended now. Thankfully, the season does not end now because there's been about 4 to 5 games played between each team. So there's still a lot of basketball left, but VJ Edgecombe has come off to an incredibly impressive start, and I'm excited to see what he can do throughout the rest of the season, especially with the news that we just got since Jared McCain has fully practiced. There's a chance that he could be potentially playing in the next coming games. So who knows what VJ Edgecombe, what his role is going to look like then. I still think he should be a starter for sure. I think with the 76ers, they should, have Jared McCain kind of come off the bench and ease back into it, especially if he could come back to what he was doing before his injury last season. This 76ers team, I tell you what, they are underrated. I still think they need to trade Joel Embiid. I think it's time to move on from him and let Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, and Jared McCain kind of take over the team. But that's just my thought. They also have Adem Bona, who I think is also a criminally underrated player. But VJ Edgecombe has come off to an amazing start. Con Knipple, shout out Con Knipple. I'm telling you, he was a player that was projected to be definitely in the lottery earlier on before the draft process really got going. But then he really jumped up the draft boards and even got drafted pick number 4 to the Charlotte Hornets, the pick right after Edgecombe. He's also come off to a really good start, especially when it comes to three-point shooting. His stats are looking like 16 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2 assists. He's shooting 52.3% from the field and 53.3% from the three-point line, and then he also has 0.5 stocks per game, so definitely not good on that end. But his three-point shooting 53.3% from the three, off of, I believe, around 7 attempts per game is very impressive to say the least. He is the perfect plug-and-play kind of player, especially for this Hornets team. If LaMelo Ball can stay healthy, if Brandon Miller can stay healthy, and if Con Knipple can keep playing relatively in this ballpark of what he's doing right now, this Hornets team could be a sneaky team to make the play-in tournament. So do not sleep on this team. I'm telling you, Con Knipple is the real deal. He's not going to be the flashy player in the NBA. He's going to be the player that gets the job done and does just about everything the right way. So don't sleep on Con Knipple, and if you have the chance to watch some of his games, do so, because he was fun to watch in Duke, and he's been so fun to watch on the Hornets so far. And then the other player I kind of wanted to mention was Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick out of the Rutgers, getting drafted to the San Antonio Spurs. Kind of under the radar in this draft, especially since Cooper Flagg was the number 1 pick, the highly anticipated player coming out of Duke. People were kind of putting Dylan Harper under the radar, especially also because he was playing for the Rutgers, which that team was terrible in, last season. But Dylan Harper is off to a great start as well, averaging 14.8 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists. He's shooting 47.8% from the field and 33.3% from the three-point line, along with one stock per game. So Dylan Harper not shooting the three ball very well, but I think that'll pick up over time. Dylan Harper's looking like a seasoned vet. A lot of people were talking about how he's kind of comparing to Cade Cunningham, and I could very well see that. It seems that could be very much the case, and if it is, that is scary for the NBA, especially when you have another kind of Cade Cunningham type of player alongside Wemby. I mean, that is just terrifying to see, along with Stephon Castle, the reigning Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's impressive what the Spurs have been building. They've also been pretty lucky with draft lottery, but hey, that's just how it works. The Spurs are a very impressive team, and Dylan Harper's going to really, really help boost this team to make a further run, possibly into the playoffs. And then they still have yet to have De'Aaron Fox play, which some people are saying maybe the Spurs are starting to regret trading for De'Aaron Fox, but I still don't think that's the case. They didn't know they were going to get the number 2 pick in this draft. So, and later down the road, they could just trade De'Aaron Fox and get some younger players or some draft capital, or just get some quality role players. But anyways, Actually, I want to mention one more player. He's kind of an honorable mention. Cedric Coward, who got drafted from Washington State. He was an early lottery pick. I believe pick 11, if I'm not mistaken, by the Memphis Grizzlies. He's been balling out, averaging about 16 points per game. But like Cooper Flagg, he's starting to pick it up a little bit. He's had some very inconsistent games, but I think he'll start to really figure it out. But this 2025 draft class has been unreal. I'll talk about the 2026 draft class in future episodes because it's going to be another fun draft class. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into podcast number 74 of Sports Talk with JWock. Once again, I really apologize for not uploading these last 2 weeks. I've had some things going on, like I mentioned earlier, but we're back on schedule. We'll also be doing NFL content again. Don't worry. We may do a little World Series episode. If you guys want that, comment that down below. I may not be very knowledgeable about it, but hey, why not give it a shot? But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in to podcast number 74 of Sports Talk with JWock. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week. Have an amazing week. God bless.